Have you ever found yourself at a crossroads or had the desire for major change? We found ourselves escaping to the mountains and the ocean, where stillness offered the space to think and to pray for guidance on the big decisions ahead. And that's where our story begins. I found there's something about nature that is so grounding. It's so pure and peaceful. I find clarity in getting away and spending time with God. And that time is so precious. And we found the answers that we were looking for. The comforts of secure, predictable jobs and lifestyle offered safety, but it also felt like a cage. The life we were living proved to serve its purpose, but an ever-growing desire began to burn. And it was becoming really clear that that season was coming to an end. And we wanted more out of life. The prospect of community, purpose, and connections resonated with our burning desire that could redefine our existence. The promise of something profoundly more fulfilling and the call of the Lord gave us what we needed to embrace this idea. The thought of stepping away from the known and leaping into the unknown was exciting and terrifying. There was a point living in Southern Oregon where we realized that it was time for a change. We had started talking about moving and pursuing community, church, planting our roots somewhere else. And the hard thing about that is that we had great jobs and we had a house and everything on paper looked great, except that we could not plant roots in Southern Oregon. Just to kind of explain just a little bit why it was so hard, it was just because we're not from there. And the way it was described to me was it's a little big town. Little meaning the culture there is very small town, but it's a bigger town. And if you're an outsider, it's really hard to make connections there, to plant roots. And after a while, we thought that it was us, and we kind of began to realize that it wasn't. It was just the area. We found other people that weren't from there, and they were all feeling the same things, seeing the same things. Some were leaving, some had left, and we began to realize that there was no hope for us in terms of really planting some good roots in Southern Oregon. And so the talks began. And I believe that the Lord placed those talks and that desire in our hearts. I believe Southern Oregon served its purpose while we were there, and it was time to go. And for a while it was just talks, and I do think, looking back, the Lord made things happen. He kicked us out of the nest, and it forced our hand, and we found ourselves in a situation where we had to move. It was all a blur, but it was the Lord in every aspect. Looking back, there's so many details, and I've refilmed this probably 50 times. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but 50 times, because I've been living in the details, and for time's sake, I need to not live in the details. So I'm gonna tell our story because I want to tell the goodness of God, and the details are what matter, and the details are the things that point to Him and what He did for us and how He carried us through this time, because it was hard. It is hard. It was hurtful, and it's all the things that you are thinking and facing in life just bubble up when you start to go through hard things. Anxiety, fear, all of these things start to come through, and the goodness of God and Him being by your side when all of these things start to come out is just such a beautiful thing, to know that our God is standing by us when we are going through some hard stuff. And it's such a beautiful story, and I wouldn't trade it for anything, because the lessons that I've learned, that we've learned going through this, are so valuable and irreplaceable. So we found ourselves moving, and we didn't know where we were going, and so we ended up hitting the road, and we had talked about Idaho, Arizona, Maui. There's a lot of states on the table. We were applying for jobs, just anywhere, anybody that would have us, we were applying. And we ended up in Idaho. It was our first stop, and it felt right. We felt like we were supposed to be there. And at the time, we were all in. We were like, this is where we're gonna be. My husband has family there. It checked all the boxes. So we were like, yes, this is it. And little did we know it was always meant to be temporary. And so the beauty of that also is just looking back, the whole story looks crazy because we went to Idaho and then now we're in Texas. But again, the details matter because it was the Lord. And the thing is that when the Lord is calling you to do something, or if you're following His lead, it doesn't always make sense. And I would always say that we are living on faith and a prayer. And it's so true. We were living by faith and we were living on prayer because it was the only thing that was guiding us. God was the only thing that was guiding us through this whole journey. And so we ended up in Idaho, and we were there for about 7 or 8 months. We were blessed. We got some great family time, and we couldn't find work, in a nutshell, and I do believe that was by design. And so we kind of found it hard to again plant roots. And on a whim, not really even on a whim, I just saw a job posting, and it was one of those unattainable type jobs, but I sent it to my husband and I said, hey, why not? Haha. And would you know that that is the job that the Lord had for us, and He opened that door for us. And so here we go, packing up to Austin, Texas. One of the requirements was to move to Austin, Texas. And A lot of people would say, you know, could you work remote? And it was like, nope, we have to go. And so the nutty thing is 2 moves in under a year, 2 very big moves. Stressful. I can't even begin to say how stressful those types of moves are. But in it all, the Lord just covered it. He's given us peace. He's given us joy. He's provided. And so here we are in Austin, Texas. And hopefully there's no more moves after that, because I love it here. It feels like home. It's different. And we've already found a church, and we're just so excited to be here and plant roots. And we're still finding our stride, but we're here and we're loving it. We're far from out of this season. It's gonna be a journey. I think it's ever unfolding, but I do feel like things are starting to calm down now that we're here, Lord willing. But I want to share our story because I know that ours is not the only story out there, and our story I want to share because I want to be able to help others. If you're struggling, if you're feeling alone in all of the thoughts, because trust me, every thought, every question, every fear we have felt in the last 7 months. And I'll tell you right now, turning to the Lord in any moment, any question, any feeling is 100% what you should do, because it's the only thing that will get you through this. And so I want to share our story. I want to share the details because I know that there are people out there who will feel encouraged and feel blessed and hopeful, because you're not alone. We're going through it. We went through it, and we haven't done it perfectly. We're human, and we've muddled through the best that we can, and we've had a lot of ups and a lot of downs, but we are climbing back up the mountain, and let's do this life thing together, and I'll share my journey. Thanks for being here, you guys. Love you.